Now, final preparations are being made ahead of the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh, which will take place in the grounds of Windsor Castle tomorrow afternoon. Prince Phillip died last Friday at the age of 99. The funeral will be televised, and the royal family says the events will be very much reflecting the Duke's wishes, he said, to have wanted minimal fuss. Well, a Land Rover will lead the funeral procession, which will start at 3:15, and it will be led by the band of the Grenadier Guards. Members of the royal family, including the Duke's children and grandchildren, will walk behind the coffin, though Prince William and Prince Harry will not walk side by side. The Queen will travel at the rear of the procession in the State Bentley. And so a lot's been spoken about His Royal Highness this week, of course, and there's been some fascinating stories and footage of the Prince. But did you know that for a few years he was the president of the British Sub Aqua Club, and their headquarters are right here in Ellesmere Port? Well, Mary Tetley is the CEO of the British Sub Aqua Club, and many memories of meeting Prince Philip. And she's with us this morning. Mary, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Now, firstly, Mary, we know that Prince Philip served with distinction in World War II, seeing military action for the first time in the Indian Ocean as one of the Royal Navy's youngest first lieutenants.
Yes.
Was that how he became interested in diving?
Yes, we think it probably was, but definitely it came before then as well, you know. I think it was instilled at an early age, possibly even during his school years
Right.
in northern Scotland, where he kind of swam in the cold water up there. And then I think the Navy obviously ran deep in his family heritage from his maternal grandfather and also from his uncle, Lord Mountbatten. So I think there was a lot of background with heritage and Navy that first kind of, you know, started him off really with scuba diving.
Right. So when was the British Sub Aqua Club formed then, Mary?
So we were formed in 1953, and he became our first president in 1960.
God. And from there, it's been handed down the family, hasn't it, the presidency?
Yes. So do you know what? He set up a fantastic tradition for us, because he handed it on to his son, Prince Charles, and then Prince Charles handed it on to the Duke of Cambridge, to William. So, and currently Prince William is still our president now.
Do you know what? We've spoken a lot during the week about the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, which was a fabulous success and still is, of course, and all the wonderful opportunities given to youngsters. And diving became a part of that, I believe, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It was a slightly different angle on the Duke of Edinburgh scheme. So what he decided to do with us, because he was really interested in the science behind diving and also in expeditions, he set up an annual award called, well, it was named Duke of Edinburgh, but it was for scientific diving expeditions. So it really supported, same sort of principle, it really supported exciting, innovative diving and pioneering diving, and also conservation, because he had a real interest in conservation, which wasn't sort of hugely known about him really, but he absolutely had an interest, along with heritage and the sea, in conservation. So that all mixed in really nicely from point of view for us as an organisation with him as our president.
So what about yourself, Mary? How did you get involved in the diving?
Well, after I left college, I went for an interview on a scuba diving magazine called Diver, and at the time the editor said to me, "You need to know what you're writing about, so I'm going to get you taught to dive." So 3 of us from the magazine went off to learn to dive, and from then I ended up doing my instructor exams. I think I dived every weekend for about the first 5 years. It's one of those things you get quite obsessed with, like all passions. So I went out every weekend all over the country, and did my instructor exam, and then I ended up working for the national governing body for BSAC, the British Sub Aqua Club, after I left the magazine. So all of my career has been involved in scuba diving.
Good. Because you've dived in the Albert Dock in Liverpool here as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I did some training. So you've got a great local club, Merseyside number 5 club in Liverpool, and I did a bit of training with them in Albert Dock, and I didn't see much, I have to say. I think I bought a couple of Beck's beer bottles up when we came up. There was a few fish in there, actually, but yeah, but it was good. It's, divers get obsessed with diving in any water, so if it's water, you enjoy it.
How deep did you go? How deep is the Albert Dock? How deep did you go down?
Oh, I think 6 metres. It wasn't deep, so it's a really good depth for training in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I believe Anglesey is one of the best places to go for diving, isn't it?
Anglesey's lovely. So, and it's only just up the road from all of us, isn't it? So you can just sort of jump in the car and whiz up the A55 to Anglesey. And yeah, you've got some great shore diving, Triada Bay, all around there. And then you can go out in the boats as well, in the inflatable boats, and go out a bit further. But yeah, beautiful diving, and the sea's great, and the visibility is often really good in Anglesey, and there's some good marine life as well.
What's it like when you're down there?
Well, people love it because it's quiet, and it's another world, so it's really inspirational. So it's taking you into a completely different, dimension of life, really. And you just float around weightlessly, and, you're in with the fish. So a lot of people have that fear, don't they, of fish being below you, but you're actually in with the life. And then, of course, if you're lucky to be diving on a wreck, fantastic, because you've got marine wrecks as well, such as old shipwrecks and stuff. So it's brilliant. It's well worth learning to scuba dive if you can get the opportunity. You'll have to do a try dive with us.
Hey, wait till the weather gets a bit warmer.
Yes, you need it to be warm. But you start off in a swimming pool anyway. And in fact, Prince Phillip, he started off in a swimming pool. We taught him in Buckingham Palace at the swimming pool there. That's
Really?
how he learned to dive. Yeah.
Go away. So you were part of his training as well then, were you?
No, I wasn't. In fact, no, because I was only very young then.
Oh, that was many years back, of course, yeah.
So I wasn't involved in his training, but BSAC was. Some of our instructors trained him in the early 60s. And then, yeah, he sort of dived whenever he could, basically. Whenever he was on one of his boats, he always ensured he had somebody there that could dive with him, so he would buddy up and dive when he could.
God. So, I mean, you met him a number of times as well, though, Mary, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been really lucky. So I've met him 3 or 4 times. And what's amazing about him is that he would remember conversations from the year before with me and with our divers, which is amazing, isn't it? Because you imagine the amount of people he saw, and he would remember sort of snippets of conversations and refer to them from the year before. So he was incredible from that point of view.
So what sort of stuff did you chat about when you met him?
Well, so they get briefed before they obviously meet everybody. And he had an amazing memory for knowing who was who. And you would introduce him to the person, and then he would have read up about what they've done in their diving. But for me personally, we often talked about BSAC and how it was going, how many members did we have, were we thriving as an organisation. And he was always very humorous. And when he talked about the sea, he got a real twinkle in his eye. And I think that's come through, hasn't it, in a lot of the photographs of him in the media over the last kind of week, that if he was passionate about something, he could have a real twinkly smile and a twinkle in his eye. And he used to love talking about the sea and the Navy and heritage and shipwrecks and everything. He had a real passion for all of it.
Sure. And what legacy, just finally, do you think he's left where diving is concerned, Mary?
I think that he's given us a royal patronage, which for us is, is absolutely unique, because there are other organisations that you can learn to dive with, but we've got that connection with the royal family and with the Navy and sort of where we came from, and the knowledge of the sea. I think he sort of gave us that sort of wish to spread the word of, learning to dive and actually understanding what's in our oceans and with his connection to conservation, and as we move forward now, where there's such a need for us to protect our oceans, there's that legacy there as well. And I think Prince William will now continue that conservation side of things as we move forward into kind of a new era.
Absolutely. Fascinating talking to you today, Mary. Thank you so much for your time, and you have a great weekend.
Thank you, and you.